everybody. Today I'm going to tell you about the story of Icarus. On the island of Crete during the age of King Minos, there lived a man named Daedalus and his young son Icarus. Daedalus was just an ordinary man except for one special talent. He was an inventor of strange and wonderful mechanical creations. And so when Daedalus created a tiny mechanical bird that chirped when the sun rose as a gift for the king, he became the talk of everyone in the land. King Minos approached Daedalus to ask if he might be able to invent something less pretty but more useful, and Daedalus did not disappoint. A few months later, he presented the plans for a giant labyrinth prison to hold the half-man and half-bull monster known as the Minotaur. King Minos was very pleased. Unfortunately, King Minos was also very greedy. He wanted Daedalus to work only for him, and so he had his royal guards take Daedalus and his young son Icarus and lock them away in a cave above the sea. The only entrance to the cave were through the labyrinth guarded by the king's soldiers, not to mention the Minotaur, and an entrance overlooking the sea high up on the cliff. Daedalus and Icarus spent some years working on their inventions, but when Icarus became a teenager, they both began to realise that being locked in the cave was no life for a young man. The next time King Minos visited, Daedalus approached him nervously. Your Majesty, surely you must see that Icarus is becoming a grown-up. You can't plan to keep him locked up away for his entire life. Please let him join your royal guard and seek a life in your service. The king raised an eyebrow and stared thoughtfully at the opening in the cave. I shall consider your request. Now, if you please, show me again your idea for a giant mechanical man. The king didn't really have to think too long about it. He knew right away that he didn't want to let either Daedalus or Icarus go. Who could know whether Icarus would have his father's talents? After all, Icarus had watched and learned from his father for his entire life. Under no circumstances did he want another kingdom to get their hands on the mechanical wonders Daedalus created, and that Icarus might someday produce. Weeks later, King Minos returned to Daedalus with his answer. Icarus provides the greatest service to our realm by keeping you company here. But sire, began Daedalus. Enough, roared King Minos. The decision has been made. I will have no arguments. Some time later, Icarus walked up beside his father and said softly, "How I envy those baby birds, for soon their wings will be strong and they'll be able to fly away from this wretched cliff." Daedalus had an idea and smiled. He turned to Icarus and his eyes twinkling. "Well then, we'd best start working on strengthening your wings so we can be off with the others." First, Daedalus used strips of leather and fine twigs to make a broom and a larger net which he and Icarus dangled down towards the cliff to sweep up the feathers near the seagull nest. For many days, Icarus carefully gathered every feather he could reach. While Icarus was busy with feathers, Daedalus created thin tubes of light metal which he used to form the frame of 2 pairs of man-sized wings. He used leather strips to to create a harness and pulleys to allow the wearer to flap and tilt the wings in various directions. Then he took the feathers that Icarus had collected and used candle wax to begin to attach the feathers to the light metal frames. It was hard work collecting the feathers and attaching them one by one to the frames, but weeks later Daedalus declared the wings complete. The day that they were to leave, Daedalus lectured Icarus one last time. "Now, son, remember you must be cautious when we fly. Fly too close to the ocean and your wings will become too heavy with the water that sprays off the waves. Fly too close to the sun and the wax will melt and you will lose feathers. Follow my path closely and you'll be fine." Icarus nodded and excitedly slid his arms into the harness. He listened absently as his father explained how to open the wings wide to catch the air currents and how to use the pulleys to steer. With an eager "hug, good luck," Daedalus and Icarus stepped into the entrance of the caves overlooking the sea, spread their wings as wide as they would go, and leapt one after the other, but out over the ocean. As if it had been waiting for them, the wind caught Icarus's wings almost immediately, and up he soared. "Oh, what freedom!" Icarus threw his head back and laughed as the startled seagulls dodged away from him and they swooped back, squawking warnings when he steered too close to the nesting cliffs. Daedalus shouted to his son to be careful, stop playing with the birds and follow him toward the shore of an island in the distance. But Icarus was having too much fun. He was tired of always following his father, always listening to his earnest lectures, and Icarus was thrilled with his sudden freedom. He watched the seagulls rise into the air, currents high above the sea, and thought to himself, "Be careful, the birds aren't careful. They're happy, they're free. Oh, what a glorious adventure this is. The sun is so warm and the breeze tugs at my wings as even the wind is happy. I can't believe I've been missing for all these years, trapped in that cold, damp cave." And with that, he followed the seagulls up and up into the sky. "No, Icarus, stop!" shouted Daedalus. "The wax will melt if it gets too warm. Not so high, not so high." But Icarus was too far away or too lost in his own happy thoughts of excitement to listen to his father's warnings. As he flew still higher, he began to feel the warm wax dripping down his arms and saw feathers falling down like snowflakes around him. Remembering his father's lectures, Icarus realized with horror his mistake. He began to work the pulleys to tilt his wings back down towards the sea, but as he did so, he saw more feathers drift away and began to lose height more quickly than he wanted. Working the pulleys even more frantically, Icarus flapped the wings, trying to slow his fall, but the harder he flapped, the more feathers detached from the frame of his wings. As Daedalus watched in horror, Icarus plunged towards the sea, frantically flapping the pulleys with his arms. When he finally hit the water, there wasn't a feather left attached. Daedalus landed as quickly as he could on the beach near where Icarus had fallen, but the only sign of his poor child was a few feathers floating in the waves. Daedalus crumpled to the sand, his face in his hands, for he knew his son was dead. After many months, when Daedalus began to recover from his grief, he named the island Icaria in memory of his son. On the beach where he landed, he built a temple to the sun god Apollo, and inside it hung the wings he had creating, vowing never to fly again. Bye! Hope you enjoyed it!